What's up, SFNEOnline fans? This is John, your co-host of The Growth Show here, back for another episode of Why Are They Gone? That's right, there's emergency sirens blaring. It's a cyclone coming. That's right, this episode of Why Are They Gone is all about the Riverside Cyclone. That was a wooden coaster here at Six Flags New England that was transformed a little while ago to a Wicked Cyclone. Oh, why was it transformed, you ask? Well, we shall find out. But first, please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to us, because, you like us sometimes. And turn on your notifications so you know when our next videos or episode of Why Are They Gone's coming. And also look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, because there's a lot of information out there that we put on there, especially our Facebook page. And some of the craziness goes on TikTok. But now let's get into this episode of Why Are They Gone? The Riverside Cyclone at Six Flags New England. The winds of a cyclone blew in the park, at that time was called Riverside Amusement Park, in 1983, when the Riverside Cyclone, a wooden coaster that was designed by William Cobb and Associates and built by the Frontier Construction Company. Riverside wanted a second wooden coaster added to their park's lineup, as the park was growing more and more with the success of their other coasters and rides that had their lineup filled. Like their new looping shuttle coaster, that was at that time the looping coaster in 1983. So they ended up deciding to add a new coaster. They wanted something new, bright, and big. So with the popularity of the park growing and the thrill seekers coming in, and the popularity of the NASCAR track that was bringing in thousands of New England racing fans in weekly for their races weekly. So the owners of the park decided in 1982 that they wanted a wooden coaster, another one that was in the park, to be added to the park. But this one they wanted to be bigger, longer, and more thrilling than the older wooden coaster Thunderbolt that was there. So the park hired William Cobb and Associates in the Associates group to design the track's layout. They also decided they wanted to put the coaster behind the looping coaster due to having so little space in the park, since they have a racetrack there and other rides and attractions that they had there. And they also wanted to form a crazy looking park skyline visible from Main Street that attracted more thrill seekers to come in and ride their growing lineup of crazy rides that they had. The park owners wanted to grow their attendance even more than 10% to 1 million annuals of visitors, and become one of the only parks in New England that attendees thought of going to for their thrill-seeking fix. So the design that they agreed upon was the clone of the famous Coney Island Cyclone, since that was a layout that drew tons of thrill seekers to Coney Island, New York, and would give Riverside one of the largest coasters in the world at that time. Construction started later in 1982 and went through the winter of 1982-83. Construction crews worked tirelessly to build this monstrous coaster at $2.5 million that they paid back then. Then on June 25th of 1983, the park's second full-length coaster opened to riders and thrill seekers alone around the world. The riders waited many hours to ride the new coaster, and from some that rode the coaster back then, when it opened, said that it was one of the most intense and brutal rides in the world. During its first season of operation, Riverside Cyclone featured 2 trains from the Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters, where riders were restrained via a lap bar. Riverside Cyclone gained a reputation of being a very violent ride pretty early in its history, and halfway through the first season, shoulder belts were added because of safety concerns that rose with the speed and airtime that the riders would be getting during the coaster's ride. But later, the belts were removed oddly prior to the second season of operation. It's weird how they ended up doing that. There were a lot of issues with the original PTC trains that the coaster used. And then during the coaster's second season, the trains were damaged, and forced the park to combine parts from both trains that they had to form one single operating train. Later on, new train replacements were purchased from DH and Morgan Manufacturing in 1985. The Morgan trains had mixed reviews. Some people liked them, some strongly hated them. It was said that they needed roughly 17 people to run even the ride, because it would fail to make it through the whole layout. Otherwise, since the trains were very lighter than the PTC trains, it seemed. Then in the late 90s, the park was bought by Premier Parks, as everybody would know. The park changed its name to Six Flags New England at the new millennium in 2000. And Six Flags did a complete overhaul for most of the coaster. First, the name changed from Riverside Cyclone to just Cyclone. And then they retired the Morgan train and put new PTC train on the coaster. Also, they made modifications to the coaster itself by shortening the first drop by 20 feet and added trim brakes in the second half of the ride and retracted the coaster as well. That was the first major work done to this coaster. Riders were not happy with some of the changes that they did, because it actually slowed the ride down and ruined some of the forces that the coaster had thrown at it from before. Later in the coaster's life, just after the 2013 season would close, the park would try to retrack the coaster again to try and smoothen out the ride. Since it became very rough in some spots, and to try and breathe new life into the coaster, since ridership was also itself. So the park had contracted RMC, Rocky Mountain Construction, to put their topper track on. They would wind up that would wind up being the last nail in the coffin for this coaster, many said. Because there was also that with RMC, they also found out some things that were going on with the coaster that would cost the park very much, when it would become unbearable for the park to change some of the ideas that they had for this coaster. So later in that season of 2014, the park decided to close Cyclone and put out that Get Your Last Rides Out. While the off season was going on, they also had been planning a new transition to a new ride and possibly taking this ride down. The day came, July 20th, for thrill seekers and enthusiasts came to pay their last respects to the ride. It was once a violent ride, but it was also a very fun ride to take. They had a closing ceremonies with the mayor of Agawam. He came out, and many others came out. The riders on that day had that ride itself had the longest lines and waits they ever had on that ride. There was 90 plus minutes that were on that was costing a lot of riders to get frustrations because of the fact that it was too long of a line. Later that night, they had fireworks to celebrate the coaster's life, and then that coaster was completely closed on that day, July 20th. Now, remember what I was saying, that they were looking to breathe a little more life into this park. Later that year, in 2014, it was announced that Cyclone would be changed to Wicked Cyclone by RMC themselves. It would become the first hybrid steel wooden coaster in the East Coast. This would breathe brand new life into an old one that made a crazy violent coaster come back alive again. So, how you guys like that? That was a true Cyclone story. So, we are now wondering why there were storm warnings for Riverside Cyclone were expired. Well, that was why. And now we have new storm warnings that are posted up for a Wicked Cyclone. Six Flags New England has a brand new Cyclone, and new riders will actually learn and breathe into life again. But that was Why Are They Gone? The Riverside Cyclone story. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to us. Please like it. If you didn't like it, hit the don't like button. I don't care. But please make sure you have your notifications on so you know when the next Why Are They Gone comes on. And also go look on our Facebook page, our Instagram, and our TikTok. But until then, keep on coasting, y'all. Peace.